Thank you very much, and I appreciate everybody being here with us today. It's certainly, I appreciate the number of farmers who are standing behind me with me today and have come to Ottawa from all across Canada to voice their concerns with the games that are being played in the Senate when it comes to a very important piece of legislation, a common sense conservative bill, C-234, which will provide farmers across Canada some much needed financial relief when it comes to the carbon tax. Our Canadian farmers are world leaders in sustainable and efficient food production. But after 8 years of Justin Trudeau and his costly carbon tax, their livelihoods and their family farms are in jeopardy. This is a reality in rural communities across Canada, where farmers do not have any other alternatives to heat and cool their barns and dry their grain. They do everything they can to innovate, adapt new technology, and ensure the environmental sustainability of their operations. That is why this common sense conservative bill, C-234, was introduced, because a tax on farmer is an increase on the cost of food for every single Canadian. As I said, this bill will provide much needed financial relief for our farmers who want to make food more affordable for Canadians in the face of Justin Trudeau's inflationary taxes and deficits. Now, there is already an exemption on gas and diesel for farmers, but Bill C-234 would expand that exemption to natural gas and propane, which are actually cleaner burning fuels. And this will address what I believe was an oversight in the initial price on pollution and carbon tax regulations introduced by this Liberal government. But by giving an exemption on home heating oil for Atlantic Canada, Justin Trudeau has admitted that his carbon tax is unaffordable for Canadians. And in fact, the Liberal Minister for Rural Economic Development said, who should be defending rural Canadians and farm families across Canada, said if farmers wanted relief, they should vote Liberal. Well, then why aren't farmers in Liberal-held ridings getting any relief from 234? This Prime Minister has admitted that he has a political agenda and not an environmental plan. This critical bill earned all-party support in the House of Commons. But now, Liberal-appointed senators and the Liberal government are playing games with the Senate after the activist environment minister promised no more carve-outs for his prized carbon tax scheme. The Liberals in the Senate are trying to kill Bill C-234 today and bury the news in the fall economic statement. In fact, they are swearing in 4 new senators today to ensure they have the votes they need to kill this bill. These senators, including Roger Cuzner, who is a former Liberal member of Parliament, so not exactly an independent Senate, have not participated in any debates or any discussions on this bill. So it would be extremely disingenuous if those 5 new senators were to vote on this bill today. If they are going to vote against our farmers and vote to increase costs on food for Canadians, then they should face the Canadian public. They should not be hiding from their decision. Conservatives will not let the Liberals kill this bill today and hide from their responsibility. Bill C-234 will save farmers close to $1 billion by 2030. Again, this is much needed financial relief for farmers who are already drowning in carbon taxes, input costs, and higher interest rates. But the sudden adjournment of the debate on third reading on 234 in the Senate 2 weeks ago was a clear and malicious attempt by the Liberal-appointed senators to obstruct this critical piece of legislation. Liberal ministers, in fact, were frantically calling senators, strong-arming them to kill this bill. All Canadians rely on our farmers to be economically viable in a time when Canadians are struggling to put food on the table, with 2 million Canadians relying on food banks in the month of March alone. That is unacceptable. Food should not be a luxury. And Liberal-appointed senators need to stop playing games with the livelihoods of Canadian farmers and playing hunger games with Canadian families. We are seeing farmers rally across the country this week. Rallies in Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and Atlantic Canada. Farmers who have had enough of the Liberal games and need to see Bill 234 passed to make farming and food more affordable. In fact, farmers from my own riding of Foothills in Alberta have come all the way to Ottawa to have their voices heard. From Alberta to Atlantic Canada, our farmers are asking senators to do the right thing and pass Bill C-234 in its original form, so farmers have a more affordable livelihood and Canadians have more affordable food to put on their tables. Now I'm going to hand over the podium to some of the farmers who have some words to say and describe their personal experiences with the harsh realities that the carbon tax and Justin Trudeau's NDP Liberal government policies are having on their operations. So, Colin, you're going to be, or Jan, you're going to be first.
Thank you very much. My name is Jan Vanderhart. I'm a greenhouse cucumber farmer, third generation greenhouse cucumber farmer in Hamilton, Ontario. And I'm here to tell you that this is really important that the Senate passes Bill C-234. It makes a difference not only to farmers, but it makes a difference to consumers. And I know I'm echoing the words that Mr. Barlow just spoke, but people think that they're just going to lay this on the farmers. Oh, just one more expense for the farmers. But the reality is the consumers of Canada and our competitors will be paying the price.
Thanks, Jan. My name is Colin Chapdelaine. I'm with Star Produce. We're a grower, marketer of greenhouse products in Alberta and British Columbia. The issue we have with this is the competitiveness. Getting our inputs taxed higher when we export 80% of our product to the U.S. Puts us at a competitive disadvantage, and we're looking to have this passed unamended so we can be on the same playing field as our partners in the U.S. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Albert Kramer. I'm a greenhouse grower out of Alberta and also on the board of the FSTG, Fruit and Vegetable Growers of Canada. And this bill is very important for our area also because we supply all our local markets in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and it just gives us an uncompetitive edge against stuff that's coming in from different parts of the world. So I would very much encourage that this bill be passed for food security. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hessel Kielstra. I'm from Alberta, and we're involved in broiler poultry. And this bill is really important to us that it passes unamended, because by the time it's 2030 or 2030, it's going to cost us $480,000 a year, and that's unaffordable. It has to be passed on to consumers, but as we all know, you can't pass all things on. So a lot of farmers will fail because you won't be able to do it economically. So it's very important for us that this bill pass. And the peculiar thing for us is there's always unintended consequences. So even if you go by the spirit of trying to reduce carbon, well, if we start reducing our usage of natural gas, we will probably be charged with animal cruelty because our baby chicks will die. So those are the type of unintended consequences that people don't always realize. So we really hope that the bill passes later today.
Well, thank you very much for sharing those stories. And those are just a few of what we heard. I had a dairy farmer from BC call me a couple of weeks ago in tears that she's going to lose her farm to bankruptcy by Christmas as her input costs and interest rates have quadrupled and her carbon tax has more than doubled over the last year. And it's just no longer financially viable for her to hang on to the family dairy farm. And she's one of many of those stories that we have heard. And I know the Liberal Environment Minister is saying, well, 97% of carbon tax is already covered. I don't know where the Environment Minister is getting this number because it is complete falsehood that 97% of the carbon taxes farmers are paying are covered. That is just simply not true. And you've heard these stories where farmers are paying tens of thousands, and in many cases hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in carbon taxes and not getting anything back that's nearly revenue neutral. These are the facts. These are what farmers are facing across Canada, and that's why we are so adamant that it's so important to have Bill C-234 passed through the Senate as quickly as possible, unamended, to ensure that our farmers have the financial relief they need to remain economically viable, and Canadians have affordable, nutritious, healthy, Canadian-produced, grown food in the grocery stores. Thank you very much for being here, and certainly take any questions you may have.